What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chaos and Company. Today, I'm here with Scott and Curtis again. Oh man, when am I gonna get new people in here? Am I right? Today we're gonna go ahead and talk about something we've kind of. Today we're gonna go ahead and talk about something that we've kind of danced around a little bit. And that is aliens. So, what do you guys got to say about aliens?
Aliens.
Out
Nice.
there. They have to be.
Huh?
They have to be out there.
They're out there somewhere.
They gotta be.
You took a poll. You ended up going around each individual planet.
No, just a hypothesis of mine.
All right, look. I'm gonna just say this right now, right? We're gonna be putting our tin hats. We're gonna sound a little bit crazy. Just be aware, right? Uh, Basically, in this podcast right here, you have two idiots and a person that likes to know everything. So don't take anything that we take seriously at all. So, Curtis, you were telling me about the mood landing being fake. I want to hear about that, bro.
Dude. Man.
God.
I've seen Nat Geo too many times, bro.
You've seen
Now
what?
hear me out. National Geographic.
Okay.
Now hear me out. Doesn't make sense. Why have we not been back? We did it back in the 80s, right? And everyone always says, well, there's nothing up there.
Well,
We don't need to go
also,
back. There's nothing up there.
The cost.
We have
It's
Tesla
literally
sending.
Yeah, and that's why
sending-
we're going back to the moon. We're going back to the moon. Like, did you know that? Let's start there.
Okay, it's 40 years later, Scott, and
Yeah,
we're just now going back.
Because the cost. So the whole idea behind the moon originally was just a flex on the Soviet Union, and because it was developed jointly with our ICBM program. There was no reason to go back. Like, as much as we'd love to go back for science, the thing is there's no money in that kind of stuff. There's money in weapons. There's money in ICBMs. Once we developed the technology for ICBMs and fine-tuned it, there was no need to continue pouring money into the space program that was also being used as a front to develop technology for ICBMs. We're going back now because SpaceX has made it more affordable because we're able to reuse rocket now. It's as simple as that.
No, because what we spend so much money on sending people to Mars, or sending not people,
Mars?
but
Wait. When did we send somebody to Mars?
saying the rover.
Oh,
We spent all this money.
That's way cheaper. That's way cheaper. That's infinitely cheaper because you're not having to look after humans. That's all electronics, which are much easier to keep safe than human beings. You don't have to worry about feeding them. You don't have to worry about their waste.
It still costs so much money to run that fucking rover, to pay somebody to drive that rover, to fix the rover when it breaks down. It's not. It's
it when it breaks down. What do you mean? It's just junk at that point. We can't go and retrieve a rover that's on the moon or Mars.
They send AAA out there, bro.
What are you talking about? Yes,
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
that's exactly. But that's my point. Is we did it 40 years ago. We sent people to Mars. I mean, to the fucking moon, right?
I just
We
told
sent
you
them to the
why.
moon.
I just told you why. It's a political thing. It's not that we can't do it. Like, that whole idea of, like, oh, we lost the technology. They said we lost the technology. It's literally a cost thing. Money makes the world go around. And if there's no reason to spend a ton of money, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, we absolutely spend money on the dumbest fucking shit.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the powers that be find that sending people to the moon is worth it. It's as simple as that. Like,
So then how come they didn't?
Not that complicated.
So then,
It's not that deep, my guy.
Hold on. Let him finish his train of thought. I want to hear it.
so now, the next question is: So you don't think any of this was recreated in like a movie theater set space?
No,
None of it.
no.
The other thing was that I always found interesting, right, is the footsteps, right? It shows, the videos, the footsteps are like he has footprints on the moon, right? Makes sense. Get it. There's whatever dust is on the moon. I don't know what they call it. But then when they return and they take off, there's absolutely no dust. That, to me, like, that doesn't make sense. How could there be footsteps and like when he steps, it makes a little plume of dust, right? But then you have thrusters off this fucking rocket, and there's nothing. There's no dust. It just takes off.
I haven't
Explain that
seen,
one.
I haven't seen the footage, so I couldn't comment on that. Well, I haven't seen the footage in a long time and paid that much attention to it.
And then I think there was what was the other thing? So I actually saw on that one. I was talking with one of the captains when I was in the Navy, right? Big nerd. He's got two PhDs, and one was like fucking physics, and the other was something science, like space science or something like that, right? And I thought it was perfect because at first I kind of I made this shit up like I would like to fuck with people.
Wait, I'm
I said,
sorry.
oh yeah, the moon landing's fake.
Sorry. What were the 2 degrees?
He doesn't remember.
Oh, okay.
It was like, but it was like two
It
substantial degree. He's like big into space, right? And I kind of fucking with him. I said, you know the moon landing is fake, right? And I just set him off, right? I just pissed him off. And I was talking about the moon landing thing, and I said, well, when they were landing, there was no dust, right? Like that doesn't make sense. And so what he told me was that the gyrosphere that keeps like it level when you're landing, right? The gyrospheres it broke, I guess. So they actually had to tilt the craft like at a 45-degree angle so that they could look out the window and see where they're at. And I was like, damn, like kind of like debunks my theory. And then so that was kind of interesting to see it from like to think of it that way. And then the last one was like a lot of these videos when you watch the stuff is there's like when you record on a camera like in like Hollywood or like a big studio, they have like like plus signs like on the camera, right? And it was like
What do you mean?
that's
Like,
all over. I don't even know what you call this.
The cursor? Is that
Oh,
what
it's
you're
like a
talking
plus sign. Like
on the
up to-
lens or
Yeah.
like where?
like
So it
I guess
shows up
when
on
you
the film, is what you're saying?
yeah, and it's not supposed to. Like if it was like just a normal camera footage, it wouldn't do that. And then the last one, well,
What do you mean? If the technology exists and it was used in Hollywood, who's to say the camera they took up there didn't have it too? I don't see how
Yes,
that's
and-
relevant.
and it's perfectly relevant because how did the camera get there? How was the camera there when they landed? Like if that was his first step, for mankind, but the camera was already there. It wasn't his first step. Somebody already stepped there.
Okay, yeah, it's called like fucking you. It's propaganda, bro. Like a big portion of the moon race was propaganda because we were in an arms race against the Soviets. Like that's what it comes down to. So yeah, somebody got off the craft, set up a camera, and then they took that shot because it looks good.
Or
Okay.
because of the propaganda and they couldn't get to the moon, that they just shot in Hollywood.
So then we don't have ICBMs. Like all the technology that came out of that, we just don't have, and we've been lying about for years, for decades now, like half a century. We've just been lying about that.
We don't have ICBMs on the moon.
This technology that they used to create the rockets was used to create ICBMs and vice versa.
Hey, but you said that has nothing to do. ICBMs don't have humans strapped to them.
Oh my
You
god.
just said earlier that it would be way cheaper to go to Mars and the moon. Wouldn't that be the same way with ICBM?
What? I never said it'd be way cheaper earlier I said it's easier to put electronics somewhere than it is to put humans. So now you're putting words in
Exactly.
my mouth. You don't even remember what I said. No, what I'm saying is, so you're conjecturing that we never built a rocket, but we built ICBMs.
No, I'm conjecturing that we have never been step foot on the moon.
Which would imply we never built a rocket to go to the moon.
With humans on it, yes.
So you're saying that they just launched an empty rocket into space on the day that the launch took place?
So why wouldn't you? It's way cheaper. And if you don't have to worry about people dying, then yeah.
Okay, wow. This is hurting my brain.
Yeah. No, I still don't think we've been to the moon. I really don't.
Wow.
I mean, what do you think?
Who? Me?
Yep.
Oh, to be honest, bro, I ended up doing this because I thought it was gonna be funny, and it is. Because I knew how Scott would react, and I also know how you egg him on too. So, no, I definitely do think we've been there. Yeah, I don't like fall into that theory of like the moon landing was fake or anything like that. Because we ended up pouring, I'm pretty sure the U.S. ended up pouring like a shit ton of money just to race everything.
Right. Well, and like I said, it was used as a propaganda thing, one, because it made the Soviets look bad, and two, it was a way to make a publicly facing program to make weaponry, but rallied around patriotism in a way that wasn't just explicitly about weapons. Because you have to remember that the technology that was used to put us on the moon was based on the technology that the Germans created during World War II for the V2 rockets, which were like the first rockets for warfare, and that was just expanded upon for the rocket that went to the moon, and then after that, ICBMs.
Got you. But yeah, no, bro, I don't think the moon. I have seen all those videos of like explaining on how it was done in like movie theater and all of that, right? But I don't know, dude. Like even now, right? When you see shows that like replicate like gravity and stuff like that, they would have not had. I don't think they would have had like the same like CGI we do nowadays, right? Back then, again, I don't know. And if it was like a God, what is that thing called when they strap them on?
Oh, just the harnesses,
Yeah,
like
the
the flight
harness things.
harnesses.
I feel like even there, it still doesn't end up replicating, what, like, I mean, I don't want to say zero gravity because there's still gravity on the moon, but, lower gravity, if that makes sense. I feel like it would have taken a lot more money. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't have taken a lot more money, but I feel
No,
like it would have.
I mean, even if they had invested in that, I don't think it would have taken as much money. But the thing is I don't think that our government would have invested a bunch of money into a hoax that they would get nothing out of it. Like, there's no return on that. Whereas putting someone on the moon, one, is good propaganda, and two, you can use the technology that you use for the rocket to make ICBMs. Like, that's just a way better benefit,
Yeah.
from their perspective. Because the other thing too is you got to think about, even if they just wanted to look at it from a propaganda perspective, they make it up. That would be a large operation that would require a lot of people to get quiet, be quiet about it. Eventually, it would get out, and that would completely be a huge hit on the moral of the U.S. The not the moral, the morale of the U.S. people.
But don't you think that, like, I just find it amazing that, what's that fucking Area 51, right? with all the hype and all the people that, like, worked there and how secretive they kept it, that that nothing has really truly been like leaked. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
There's people.
Been
There's people.
plenty
There's
of
people.
leaks.
Yeah, but there's nobody like they come out and talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But there's never been like true hard evidence that they're like, oh yeah, this is what
Well,
I hear.
coming out and speaking about something's a lot easier to do than, physically stealing something or taking a picture or something like that,
I feel like it
Well,
depends
and I
on
know.
how much security access you need in order to get into like an area like that. I feel like taking a picture or like some proof of evidence would probably get you in a lot more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, and when you're in a top secret space like that, like you don't have your cell phone. You get
Right.
patted down. You go through metal detectors.
Well, I'm sure
You're not just
you get searched both ways, I'd assume too.
yeah, and it's like you would just. I feel like there would just be more people that talk about it.
Well, I think
At some point, especially how long it's been open.
well, a lot of people have come out and talked about it, but like they've either been like, seen as like crazy people or seen as hoax. I mean, because the reality of it is I mean, yeah, there's a chance that there's alien technology there, but at the same time, like we know that some of our most advanced aircraft have come out of there, and it might just simply be that it is what they say it is. It's where we test, advanced aircraft technologies. Like,
Yeah, but then also think of like I also think of it this way, right? That's got to be like there's you can't have such a high profile like place, you know, and like it's just got to be like a disguise. They're like, oh yeah, Area 51's where you build all the
oh, right.
baddest shit. So then people go there and like it's really like on the other side of the country.
The thing is it never was that. The U.S. government didn't even acknowledge its existence until relatively recently. If I'm not mistaken, it was in the 2000s where the government finally acknowledged its existence, even though people had somewhat known about it and talked about it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can.
Because that's where the B2 was created, right?
The B2, the U2, the SR-71, I believe, was tested there. The F-17, I believe the F-22 did some stuff there. So, like, yeah. 2005 was the first time that the U.S. government acknowledged the existence of Area 51.
So basically, since they acknowledged it, there hasn't been shit there.
Up until that point, if you ask the U.S. government what was there, they'd say there's nothing there.
Yeah.
It was a complete black site. So, I mean, there's a high chance that they don't do as high of profile, like top secret testing there anymore because it's no longer like a black site since they've acknowledged its existence. Like, and I mean, that's the reality of it is like, I feel like a lot of, people talk about like, how every year when they audit the Pentagon, there's billions of, not trillions of dollars that don't, add up. And it's like, there's so many, the US has so many projects with, that have, black budgets and they're taking on black sites. Like that stuff's never written down about, absolutely nothing about it. So, yeah, there probably is black sites out there that have more advanced technology that's being tested than what's at Area 51 realistically, but I mean, we'd never know about them because they're black sites and nobody
The
is.
moon landing happened at Area 51.
Actually,
It was at Area 51.
I'm pretty sure that the common conspiracy theory is that it was in a studio in Hollywood and it was directed by well, I mean, so
Steven Spielberg.
No, it's Stanley Kubrick, I believe. Because there's also part of that conspiracy theory is that he made The Shining just to mock everyone and show that he directed the moon landing. Because there's a couple calls to that mission in that movie. So a lot of people believe that he was the one who directed it and he basically mocks everybody in The Shining, and indirectly says I directed it.
Because he did.
Sure. You know, Substantial claims require substantial evidence, and nothing you've presented has been substantial in any form.
You know, now that we're speaking about the moon and the moon landing and all that, right? I don't know too much about it. I feel like I heard it briefly, but somebody was saying that basically when we went up there, we ended up finding uh something because
And that's why we never went back.
well, we went back like what, like how many more times? Like 3, 4 times?
I don't remember. India just went to the moon not too long ago too.
But apparently they ended up finding something, and people were thinking it might have been aliens, and that's where the whole entire like
6 times. Five
6 times,
successful. Oh, I'm
5
sorry. Only.
successful. Okay,
Yeah.
that was close. Um, but apparently they ended up like finding something there, and like the reason why they say that is because on the communication they said we found something, and then like it cuts off, and you don't get to hear like the rest of the conversation. Have you
Yeah.
guys heard of that?
Yeah.
Can you explain it? Because, like I said, I briefly heard it.
I mean, it's just that there's something that's either inhabiting up there or whatever. And because I believe that log is after that point, that log is classified, and that's why. Oh, there's a lot of speculation about it.
Oh, really? I didn't know it
Yeah.
was classified.
Yeah, no, from my understanding from what I've heard about that in particular is that there is a full transcript of that interaction. It's just after that point it's classified.
Damn, bro. What do you think they found up there? Like, if you had to take a guess,
I mean,
can you imagine they found like dinosaur bones up there?
yeah, it could be something, archaeological in nature that they just don't want people to know about. Or it could be something like they sent like a secret spy satellite, or they tested something near the moon and they lost it and they found it up there and that program's still classified. You know, like unfortunately, as much as it'd be cool to think of it as something like, dinosaur bones or some remnants of an ancient civilization. Fortunately, most of the time the explanation for things are like the most mundane things. And like in the grand scheme of it, like a failed top secret project being found up there is the much more mundane answer to that. But I mean, there's a
I
lot
just,
of. Go ahead.
no, I just had a tipsy thought. So they have telescopes, right? The Hubble telescope or whatever that new one is. They just released Hubble 2 or something like that, right? That can see like beyond the Milky Way.
Okay.
Just use that. How come we can't just use that telescope and like look at the moon?
We
And
do.
just like,
We look at the moon all the time
Like-
through telescopes.
can't we get like a real close up and just like see what's up there?
Well, the thing is if I remember correctly, the moon doesn't rotate.
Oh, is that why people are like, oh, they found something on the dark side of the moon?
I gotta Google that one because I think
No,
that's a
I'm sorry.
false.
It does.
I think that's a false. Yeah, I think that's a false. People always say dark side of the moon, but
Oh no, so it does rotate? All right, so the moon spins. The time it takes for the moon to rotate once on its axis is equal to the time it takes for the moon to orbit Earth once. So the same side of the moon is always facing us. So it is spinning,
Yeah.
but it's spinning at the same rate as us. It's circling us, so we never
have to-
see the back. So there is a dark side of the moon. Yeah, most of the conspiracy theories about there being something on the moon revolve around the dark side of the moon. That there's something on the back side of the moon. I mean, calling it the dark side of the moon, is a little
that's an Ozzy Osbourne
misleading
quote.
because no, it's I don't I believe it was Pink Floyd, not Ozzy Osbourne. I lost my train of thought. It's just the side that doesn't face us, but I mean, it does face the sun. So at certain points, it does get light.
So what kind of stories have you guys heard about aliens? Have you?
Oh, the big one right now is those two fighter jets or whatever they were. I think they're fighter jets they caught the supposed UFO like on their camera on the
Oh,
jet or
the
whatever. And
sphere, and it was faster than
yeah,
anything we've ever like come
yeah,
across.
and they released it, and now they have the UFO. Like now they're like Congress is setting up meetings about it or something. um, and then they released a lot of the information about that stuff too.
Do you think it was actually an UFO, or do you think it was just like technology that maybe another country has come across? Because wasn't it like the reason they came across it was because it was like kind of observing military base.
I thought it was. I feel like they were practicing or something. They were kind of just flying around, and they got something on the radar, and
Okay.
then
You guys talking about the one that dived into the ocean?
I think that one's different from this one. And this
yeah,
one
I
just
think
like
that's just
disappeared. Like they literally lost track of it. Even on their like radar, it just completely like just disappeared. And then like they just lost complete track of it.
Well, there was one like that where it was near a Nimitz class carrier and they scrambled jets and they followed it and it was going like it was like turning like instantly and accelerating at extreme rates and then it dove like into the ocean super fast, went super deep and then shot out super fast and was gone.
Yeah, and then a lot of people were speculating that there's aliens at the bottom of the ocean because of it.
Right. Well, I guess if you look, I haven't looked into it. I've only seen people claim this, but a lot of people claim that if you look into it, there's more sightings of UFOs coming out of the ocean than coming out of the sky.
No, I didn't know that. That's actually, oh,
I've never looked into it, but I've seen lots of claims for that.
yeah, no, I didn't even hear anything about that. Yo, how did the whole entire abduction thing started? Because that is something that like kind of makes me think, right? That maybe like we're just like an experiment to them, or maybe like they're observing our behavior and stuff like that. Because I was like, well, we the way we end up doing like to other animals, right, is we track them, right? We track them to see like what their behavior is like, what they end up eating and things like that, right? So we tend to put trackers on them, be able to like observe them from afar, right? So what if like they're doing that at the same time, like when people are saying, oh, like I got abducted or anything like that, what if like they're just putting a tracker on them and like getting to like see, what exactly is that we do.
Right. I mean, in going back to the moon, even there's theories that the moon is a like warden's office or like an observatory for aliens to watch us. So, I mean, there's a lot of theories, again, just going back to the moon, but related to aliens, that the moon is not a moon because it doesn't observe, like, it doesn't have, it's different, it's special compared to the moons of other planets that we've observed. So, there's a lot of people that, there's a lot of conspiracy theories around it being different things. One of them is, well, two of them are, one is it's like a warden's office, so to speak, for like a jail, and that Earth is a prison, and that Earth used to be like a super advanced intergalactic civilization and spacefaring race, and we did something bad or wrong where like a galactic council got together and basically put us back into the Stone Age and imprisoned us here on Earth. And this galactic council put, uh, the moon there as a warning cell so that we could be watched and observed, or that the moon was put there by aliens to observe us, because like you were saying, like we're some kind of like science experiment or science thing to them.
Right. So kind of adding to both things that you just said, right? So like the warden thing, right? It could end up because there's another theory. It has nothing to do with this. Well, kind of maybe, right? But there's a theory that civilizations in the past, like, they were very advanced, right? It's like a way of like explaining like the pyramids, right?
Right.
And it's said that in the theory that basically like a catastrophic event ended up happening where it ended up resetting everything. And it could have been possible that that type of civilization or those type of humans that were around there had like advanced technology, but unfortunately we're not able to like see it, or we haven't found it. But they could have possibly been in an advanced state and we just can't like conceive it.
Right. I mean, personally, I don't think it's anything that extreme. Like I'm not going to say there hasn't been knowledge that's been hasn't been lost over, the centuries, because there definitely has. I mean, just look, we lost the Library of Alexandria or Alexander in I believe it was in Egypt. That got torched, and that was known as a haven of knowledge of the developed world for its time. And then I'm, in like the Middle East and, all those places that are considered like the birthplace of, humanity as we know it, because of the development of societies and civilizations, Mesopotamia. A lot of times they stored important things underground, so it's possible that there was like cave-ins, and all this knowledge that was in these caves where they stored it was lost. And then we also know that like when the Europeans conquered a lot of land, they destroyed a lot of the writings of the natives, and converted them to their religions and made them speak their languages. And I'm sure there was a ton of knowledge that was lost in that time frame too. So I mean, all throughout history, there's indicators that we have lost knowledge. So it's definitely a real thing, regardless of whether it was the point that we were so advanced like that we were, like a spacefaring race or whatever.
Right. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. But then
It's
adding
funny.
sorry,
I
go
was
ahead.
just thinking, you know how you asked like where did like the abduction like idea come from, right?
Uh-huh.
I was just thinking, it's like on top of that, where did the probing come from? Like some guy was just like, yeah, dude, like they picked me up and just like probed me. you know,
Yeah.
like
Right.
how did that become? How did that become like part of the whole abduction? Like, oh yeah, aliens, yeah, probe you. That's just all they do. They just probe you and they drop you back off. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that came from, to be honest with you. Maybe
I
like
just the more I think about it, the funnier it is.
yeah.
Like somebody's like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna spread this like crazy rumor that I got abducted by aliens, and they just probed me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where that came from, dude. But adding to the adding to the other one, right? Cuz I want to add to both of them, but adding to the one where we're like a science experiment, right? Or they're just observing our behavior, right? I know I mentioned this in a couple podcasts ago. I don't remember when exactly, but I said that there's a theory where aliens kind of had like like I guess in, like a they were the cause for our like rapid evolution, right? I don't know if you remember that, Scott.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
Okay. So the reason why it also like it was brought up is because like primates right now are basically copying a lot of things that we tend to do. So like, there's been primates that have been caught on film spearfishing, making tools to like do certain things a lot faster. There's even been primates like on boats, just like kind of like, going along. So it's like, if they're mimicking what we are doing now, right? Or like, kind of like going a little bit, um, like, yeah, just mimicking what we're doing, right? What's not to say that we ended up doing the same thing like back then?
We didn't mimic someone else.
Huh? Yeah, that we
Oh, like
didn't
that
mimic
we
someone
didn't
else.
mimic someone else for us.
Right, before us. So like, like if they're doing that, right? Yeah, that's basically my train of thought there. Which is kind of trippy to think about. Again, it's just a
I don't.
theory.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, but I mean, like I said earlier, substantial claims require substantial evidence. I mean, I don't discredit anything. It's just like you like if you're gonna like I said, substantial claims, you have to have substantial evidence. And that's honestly like with a lot of the alien stuff and that kind of stuff where I stand is like these are very substantial claims people make, but then they don't provide any sort of substantial evidence to back them up.
Right. I mean, it's kind of hard to do so though, but like at the same time, like I'm not like saying like, oh, this is real. I'm just saying like that's like where the theory goes. And it kind of made me think too, because then, when I ended up seeing that, I was like, an orangutan is using a spear to like catch fish. I'm like, okay, it learned that from like us. Or them making a hammer to like open up like not like an actual like hammer that we do, but like basically like kind of like wrapping a rock on a like stick, and then in order to like break nuts open, right, a lot
Right.
easier. Or them being literally on like just like wood, just like rowing basically, to like get across. And you just like you can't just be like, damn, okay, if like they're mimicking what we're doing now, right, in order to like them like processing like, oh, this is gonna make my life easier. Who's to say that we didn't end up doing that back then? And then like that like sped up our like evolution or whatnot.
Yeah,
um
no, it's
our
possible.
process to life. But again, it's just a theory. I'm not saying like it's real. um But yeah, no, I thought it was a really cool and interesting thing to do. But going back to the abduction, dude, there's been so many like stories told about like abductions. And I just kind of want to know, where exactly did that, do you guys know like where exactly that came from?
I actually have well, it's a Wikipedia page. I looked it up. It looked like the term didn't become widespread, like used widespread until the 60s. But there are like accounts that predate that. It looks like everything's in the 1900s though. Like there's not really talk of anything prior to the early 1900s.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So early 1900s? I wonder what ended up causing, like like was it like oh, like I'm trying to get famous, so I'm just gonna make this up, or you know what I mean? Because another thing
But
I kind of like.
according to the NCBI, Library of Medicine, right? They they reclassify it as uh, a psychological study, but it's part of sleep paralysis. Just how we were talking about like last week on seeing all these things. You know, the man in the man in the door and all is sleep
Yeah,
paralysis.
shadow
But I feel
people.
like that, yeah. But I feel like that's like a scapegoat. You know,
No, I wouldn't call that a scapegoat. The human mind does crazy things, so
Yeah, but I mean,
I mean
like,
that's true. But like, but if you were actually kidnapped, or I mean abducted, right? And they're like, no, dude, you're just tired. No, motherfucker. What do you want me to do? I was in the spaceship. I read.
Well,
No,
it's the
bro,
same
dude.
thing. It's the same thing as like I was in, hell. I saw a bunch of demons. Like, no, you just had sleep paralysis. Like, it's the same thing. And from what I'm seeing here, there was an increase of quote unquote abductions when, that kind of became a thing and more people were aware of it.
Yeah.
to end up putting it in your mind. To like that's what basically what I was
Right.
saying with like the shadow people. It's like what if like people heard it? Okay. But you know what I find interesting, right? Is that with a lot of these abduction type things, right? What I've been seeing more and more is that people keep saying that they look like humans, right? But like with bigger heads. And I mean, like, I get it, right? Like, I get the big head because that's like what we, when like alien stories like started coming out or alien movies, right? Like, we basically ended up like exaggerating the size of their head, right? But it would be interesting to like just think about where like it's like, okay, what if there are us, but from like a different like timeline? Or maybe not timeline, but what if it's just like a different version of us?
Well, you're talking about like a multiverse, but yeah,
Sorry, a multiverse?
yeah, multiverse. So, there's a lot of different theories. All right, bear with me here.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about physics a little bit.
All right. Hold on. Let me grab my pen and calculator. Okay. I'm here.
So,
I'm here with you.
so there's two like I guess you could call them divisions of physics. You have classical physics and you have modern physics. Modern physics came about in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And it really all started with Einstein's paper on the photoelectric effect, which has to do where the principle of, with the photoelectric effect, is the principle that light exists as both a particle and a wave. And then that was applied to fundamental particles across the boards. And from that, you got quantum mechanics. And the thing with quantum mechanics, and this is proven, like this is a fact. This is not, speculation. This is a fact of quantum mechanics, is that until observed, fundamental particles exist as a wave of probability. So basically, when you're looking at fundamental particles, you have an equation that expresses their probability of being somewhere at a certain time. But they do not exist anywhere until they are observed. The most famous experiment that proves this is the double slit experiment, where they shot a bunch of I forget if it was electrons or photons, but at two slits. And if it existed as just a particle, it would have registered only directly in front of the slits, but it didn't. It registered at different intervals like you'd expect from a wave. So we know that's true. So these particles exist as a wave of probability until they're observed. So there is this idea that there's an infinite number of universes out there, that any time a particle is observed and it chooses a location when observed, it branches. So, and I mean, it would be infinite. So basically, anytime a particle is observed, an infinite number of branching universes are created based off of the infinite possibilities of where that particle could be when it is observed. And over time, they become very, like, because of that, there's an infinite number of universes that look nearly identical to the one that we exist in, but there's also an infinite number of universes that look completely different than the ones that we exist in. And yeah, that's that's part of like I don't know if that's technically considered the multiverse theory, but that is definitely a theory behind, branching universes and there being more universes and more versions of ourselves than that. And that can also play into like there's the theory of quantum immortality that plays into that as well and builds off that as well.
Damn. Look, if that's true, bro, I just hope the other me's are happy because God knows I'm not.
Well, with like quantum immortality, so basically what that states is like we are all immortal. So if you are existing in universe like 2, let's say, like that is where your consciousness exists. Like there are infinite numbers of you, but they are not conscious self-aware beings. They just simply exist. And let's say something happens to you in universe 2 that causes you to die. Well, your consciousness actually switches over to, let's say, universe 10, where you don't die in that instance. So you never know that the version of you in universe 2 died. You view it as nothing happened, when in reality, your consciousness actually just switched into a completely different universe. And that kind of plays into the Mandela effect. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people that think that that kind of, quantifies it. I think, it's been proven that human memory isn't as good as we'd like to admit it is. So for me, that's more realistic than, quantum immortality and all that. But I think in like, if you were to tie this all into aliens, though, would you consider you from a different universe an alien? Or like is a human that exists in an alternate reality to our own a human, or are they an alien? Are they something that we feel we would be familiar with, or something we feel that would be unfamiliar to us?
Yeah, dude, that's deep. I think there was a movie made out of that, wasn't there? Like the dude like basically ended up lack of better words, like killing like everybody that was him in every single universe until there were two, and apparently like the more that they ended up dying, the more powerful like each being that was still alive became. Did you guys ever see them? Do you even know what I'm talking about?
No.
No?
No,
Maybe I just made it up. I don't fucking know. But I could have sworn that was a movie where like the dude like basically found a way to like go into, all the universes and basically just kept hunting himself down. And each time one of them ended up dying, he became a lot stronger and a lot stronger, and basically he was just trying to become immortal. But with
wasn't that
powers.
wasn't that guy with the golden fist? No, he
No.
tried to kill the world. Snap of finger. That guy.
Oh,
Oh, you
no,
talking about
Same.
Thanos?
that's a
Yes.
weird way. That's a weird way to describe Thanos. That dude with the
Well, I mean,
Man,
golden fist.
that's
He's not
close.
wrong, but
It was close. I mean, fuck, I don't know.
There is a Deadpool run called I think it's like Deadpool kills everyone or something like that, where Deadpool
no,
literally kills
the Marvel
everyone,
universe.
but including because Marvel implies the multiverse, you know, idea, and that's how you have like, you know, a lot of times you'll have very different versions of like the X-Men, Avengers, things like that, other than like just lineup changes, but like them being looking and acting fundamentally different, is that they're just of different multiverses.
Yeah.
Which I think, you know, from a writing perspective is a very smart thing to do, because now you can make infinite versions of a character and it all makes sense. And then you can
You
have
literally never
crossover
stop.
events.
And I did read that comic book a while back, and I think at the end he ends up killing the writer.
Yeah, he
If I'm
does.
not, yeah, okay,
Yeah, he does.
yeah, it's a good read. If you haven't read it, definitely recommend it. It's a really good read. Um, But have you guys ended up hearing? I might mess up the story, right? But I believe it's like a famous story. I think he even ended up writing a book about the guy that ended up getting abducted. Um, Basically, I don't remember why, but they were out like in the field somewhere, right? And there was a group of friends, right? I think it were 5 people, right? And out of nowhere, they ended up seeing like this light, right? And then it was just like a really like super loud sound, and one of them was extremely close to the light, and he basically like passed out. Everybody else got so scared that they just ended up taking off, right? But then afterwards, like, dude, we gotta go back and like, get him, because like, he could possibly be in by something. Like, we just gotta make sure that he's fine. And some of them didn't want to go back. Others were like, yeah, let's go. Like, we got to check up on him, right? Because they saw him completely, like, pass out. They noticed that they weren't with him. Again, I'm telling this based off story. So if you know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry if I messed this up. But basically, they go back and the dude is not there. The dude is just completely gone. And they're like, dude, where'd he go? Like, they start panicking, right? They basically call they call the 911. They basically send a search party for this guy. They were searching for him for about 5 days. They couldn't find him. They couldn't find a trace of him. Couldn't find where he went or anything like that. And 5 days later, he just shows up at like a cafe, I think, or like at a restaurant, and he asks to use the phone. And basically, the way he tells the story is that he was badly injured, right? And when he woke up, he ended up seeing figures, like the normal figures that we all know, right? Big head, big eyes, right? Small,
Grays.
fragile bodies. Sorry, what was that?
Grays. That particular type of alien, or they're referred to as grays.
Grace? Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't know that, but that type, right? Grace type. And he said that he never heard him talk, but they it looked like they were communicating. So like they were communicating through like I guess their
Tel-
mind, right?
Telepathy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess telepathy in a way. But apparently these aliens ended up patching him up, and they basically like kept them, right? They kept him, make sure that he ended up healing well, and then they just ended up releasing him. Now, he didn't have like conversation with them, right? He was like in and out on that state like a lot. And then next thing he knows, he's just out in the middle of somewhere, like nowhere. And the first thing he ended up coming across was this restaurant that he walked in. Again, I'm telling this from memory. I'm not 100% sure if like I am saying this right. But basically once they ended up finding him, right, they interrogated all of the friends. All of the friends said the same exact story for years, right? And then after a while, one of them said, oh no, it's just all a host and stuff like that, right? But I think he might have gotten paid. Again, I don't know 100%, right? But they were they basically said that people kept bribing them to basically come out and say that it was all a host. So I think one of them might have ended up cracking and actually ended up taking the bribe. And he was the only one that came out and said it was a host. Everybody else still to this day tells the same exact story, bro. Again, I don't remember the dude, but I do know he ended up writing a book about it. Have you guys heard, or does that story even sound?
No, I haven't heard.
Um, I mean, that sounds like a lot of missing 401 stories because there's a lot of alien and alien abductions that play into like the whole missing 411 thing.
Oh, okay. But no, to this day he still tells that same exact story, bro. And one thing I was thinking about, like, with like that whole entire like abduction thing too, it's like, what if like they make it to a way where you basically like just sleepwalk? What if they figure out a way to like make you sleepwalk, and then at night, whenever they want to collect data again, they basically have wired your brain to just sleepwalk back to the to where they're at. They pick you up, collect the data, and then drop you back off. And then maybe that's why people tend to have like those dreams of like aliens, after they've been abducted.
Yeah,
That
it's definitely possible.
that would be some wild shit, dude. Where they just have figured out the mind, the human mind, and how to wire it like that already.
Right. Yeah, I know there's a lot of missing 411 stuff, which I think we've talked about. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast, but there's just a lot of like weird stories of people going missing in national parks and forests. And some of them are related to aliens. The people claim that they were aliens and things like that.
Yeah. There was one dude that was really like brutal, I guess, in a way. That I ended up hearing like not too long ago. This one comes out of El Salvador though. Apparently they ended up finding like a teenager, I think, right? Just like wandering around, right? Near one of the lakes over there. And basically when they ended up interrogating him, all he can remember is like a white room and like these like, I guess he kept calling them humanoid, right? Kept saying that they were humanoid, like, right? They didn't look exactly human, but they kind of did, right? And he said that there were multiple people there, right? And that he even remembers one time, like, they ended up cutting a woman in half and then putting the other half on like one of their other humanoid females. And like apparently like they were doing a bunch of experiments on them, right? I'm like, dude, that shit's so crazy and wild. But then I was like, it's El Salvador, you know?
Well,
Like
there
I
there
don't
was
wanna, but like you know what I mean when I say that,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
it's like,
yeah. Well, even I forget where it was. I want to say it was Peru, but there was like claims that there was this town that kept getting terrorized and a bunch of people were dying, and there was claims that there was these aliens that were attacking this small random village in Peru. And they finally went in. The government finally sent some people to investigate, and it was cartels.
that, yeah, no, that's what I meant by like, I was like,
Yeah, no, I know
it's
what you
not
mean.
a,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not like a, you know, it's a place that a lot of people go missing, but not because of like, like supernatural things like that.
right,
But yeah, no, dude, I was just, but when I heard it, I was like, yo, that's actually kind of insane, to
right.
like experience all that, and all you can see is just a white room, and yeah, I'd be freaking out. Like honestly, I'd be freaking out.
Yeah,
But
You think how they always like portray the Greys, right? It's like slender and skinny. Do you think if there was one like that was like coming to abduct you, you think you could beat its ass? Like like if no, I'm not talking like they get their fancy technology, like just a straight up good old boys bare knuckle bare round.
well, think of it
Do you
this
think
way.
you could beat its ass?
Think of it this way. Think of it this way, right?
I think I'd
Com-
fuck them up.
compare, like they're not just gonna go up to you, right? Like think of it this way, right? We are able to basically study, track, and look at the health of freaking grizzly bears, bro. That will literally, with one single paw swipe, would absolutely break us in half. So
Oh yeah,
he's
no,
not
but
gonna
yeah,
go up to you just like without thinking that you're a threat. He's gonna go up to you thinking that you are going to try and defend yourself. So he's gonna have sorry, I keep saying they're going to have something to immobilize you. They're not just
oh
gonna
yeah, for sure.
like just
Yeah,
gonna
they're
go
not just
up
gonna
to
walk
it.
up and be like, shake your hand.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm like thinking like hypothetically, right?
Oh, like if you
Like
have to fight
maybe
your
he
way out.
drank. Yeah, no, like he drank too much with the boys, like up on the moon or something, right? No, and he's like, bro, watch this. I'm gonna go talk to the motherfucker. You know how people get. Think about it this way. You know how people get drunk and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go pet the skunk, like dumb shit like that. You know, where nothing good is gonna come out of it, right? Something like that. So it's like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna go pet a human. You know, so you walk out of the bar, and this fucking gray is just standing there, and like, I mean, you have to punch him, right? Like, you just gotta square up. Like, you have no other option. There's an alien in your face, dude.
Oh shit.
But that brings you back to my original question: is do you think in a straight up bare knuckle match you would beat his ass?
Honestly, yeah, because from what it sounds like, they're more of like their
They're smart.
physical bodies. Yeah, their physical
Yeah, they'll
bodies.
kill you with their
Right.
brains.
Yeah. So like yeah, like if it's a physical type, I think yeah, anybody would end up winning. But
I just
I'm
imagine Joe
drunk at the
Rogan.
moon. Let me go pet a human real quick. That sounds
Dude.
so wrong, dude.
Christ.
Holy shit.
It's like how people like jump over like animal cages at the
No,
zoo. Like that's what they're
never. I
doing.
have never. No. But
I mean, I think it'd be hard to say personally because it's like, the saying is life as we know it, and it is just that. It's life as we know it. So like, these could be life forms that have completely different like skeletal structures. I mean, for all we know, like
The
the
SpongeBob episode,
skeleton
like when
is
he's getting
oh yeah,
he's
the
getting punched by the
chrome.
pig. Yeah, he just keeps getting punched. And the
Yeah,
guy gets tired out.
yeah. I mean, literally, it could be like, yeah, it could be spongy to where you're not gonna do anything, but at the same time, they could have skeletons made out of like, you know,
titanium
yeah, titanium or
or a
something, or
stronger
tungs.
metal that we fucking don't know.
Yeah, like we just don't know because
Yeah,
we
that's true.
assume that the life out there is gonna look like us, but in reality, we don't know. It could look like anything.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
Scott, you're saying you would lose. That's what you're saying. You're telling me you'd get your
I'm
ass
saying
beat
I
by
didn't. I don't know. I mean, if
I have
that's my,
zero confidence in himself. I'd
I
beat his ass.
I'd
I would
definitely
I would hop
try,
on one of
but
those I would hop on one of those fucking lime scooters and run his ass over.
I like how, Curtis is like, yeah, if I see him I'd beat his ass, like no questions asked, and then Scott's like, I don't know, I'd probably like talk to the dude.
Yeah, no, Scott starts talking about like fucking the multiverse. The alien just punches him. He's like, dude, just punches Scott right in the throat. He's like, shut the fuck up. He's like, just shut the fuck up. No one wants to hear it.
Oh shit.
Funny though.
But
No, you know what? Like glass half full, right? What if they're like super chill, right? Like, what if they're like actually like dope ass people
that's
Right.
what I
or
was
aliens or
gonna
whatever?
that's what I was gonna get to, bro. That's what I was gonna be, because you know how in a
Sorry,
lot of movies,
my bad.
no, you're good. No, you freaking took me where I want to go. Because you know how in a lot of movies basically aliens are portrayed as like conquerors, right? Like they come in
Yeah,
here and like just
they just
absolutely,
destroy everything.
yeah, and like they're just gonna take over the planet, and like we can't do anything, but then somehow we manage, right? And then there's others like I think
all
District 9, right? Like it
no.
was more of like,
Well, District Nine's more of like a take on like apartheid and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
okay.
like,
that's
but
what
yeah,
Scott. That's the movie I was thinking was Paul. When he gets they go in the RV. That's all I keep thinking of. Like when I think aliens chill,
It's Paul.
just that movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude, that movie was so funny. That movie is so great. But No, also ET, dude. ET is also like a really
Yeah,
like chill, and I think he's also like I think it was confirmed that he was plant based too, like a plant based form.
I don't I don't know.
If I'm remembering correct, I could be absolutely wrong, but if I'm remember correctly, I think I think the writer said he was actually like a he's supposed to be a plant.
If you know
Yeah.
that species is confirmed to be in the Star Wars universe. I forget which one of the prequels it is, but in one of the prequels in the Galactic Council, you see the councils for that race, and they all look like ET.
I don't remember that, but I have
I mean,
heard of that. I have heard of it, but I
it's
don't
in like
remember
a
that.
corner of the shot. It's like a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing.
Oh, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Wait, but what did ET love to eat Reese's Pieces or something like that?
Well, yeah, he liked Reese's Pieces, yeah.
That's what it was. Okay, I was trying to remember.
Yeah, but like, what do you guys think would be like if you know if aliens were able to travel through space, right? Ended up having all this technology. Do you think if they did ever like actually end up like encountering us, do you think they would actually be like conquerors, or is that something we more of like display because we're displaying us in a way since we've basically done it to ourselves in the
Did
past?
everybody? Yeah, no, I think it's just a fear,
Just a
right?
fear.
I mean, the scariest thing that could happen. The scariest thing from the unknown is to be like conquered, you know?
So, do you guys know what the Fermi paradox is?
No.
So basically, it's the idea that we're not special. The universe is huge. So why have we never seen alien life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's a bunch of different answers for it. Like there's the universe just isn't old enough yet, you know, for a I think it's class 2 or class 3 civilization to have formed yet. You guys know the civilization classes, right?
I've heard of them, but I don't know the like specifics.
It just has to do, I don't remember exactly like what each class is. The US is 0. We're still a class 0 species. Um, but what?
I like how you're like the U.S. like, yeah,
Uh,
the U.S.
humans,
is the whole world.
humans. Wow. I'm I'm in a raid right now, so my mind is other places. And also my guild's talking about the U.S. in the chat right now, so that's where that came from. The humans. Let me look it up really quick. Enter. What's the class civilization classes civilization classes. So it's the Kardashev scale. I think that's how you I
Pronounce
think
it.
that's how you pronounce it. But anyways, so a type 1 civilization is able to access all energy available on its planet and store it for consumption. Hypothetically, they should be able to control natural events such as earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, etc. Type 2 civilization can directly consume a star's energy, most likely through the use of a Dyson sphere. And a Type 3 civilization is able to capture all the energy emitted by its galaxy and every object within it, such as every star, black hole, etc. And so obviously with those would require, certain understandings of a type 1 having complete control over their planet, type 2 having complete control over their solar system, and type 3 having complete control over their galaxy. So realistically, for a intergalactic civilization to exist, they would need to be a class 2 on their way to a class 3. So there's the idea that there is no species, like the universe just hasn't existed long enough um, for a class 3 civilization or class 2 civilization to have evolved yet. There's the idea that there are certain barriers to entry, I guess you'd call them, for the advancement of a civilization. and that there's just at each one of these barriers of entries, the likelihood of you getting past it is just so low that there's very few species that have done it, and none near us have. There's the dark forest answer, which I think is kind of terrifying. But basically, the idea is, let's say you're put into a dark forest and you know there's other people out there, but you don't know what their motives are. You don't know where they are, what they want, what, or anything like that. You don't know if they're armed. You don't know if they have weapons. It's this idea that you're going to assume they're dangerous, and you're going to assume that they mean you harm until proven otherwise. So these other species aren't actively looking for other races to make contact with, because they're fearful of them as a whole. And we should be fearful of them just as they're fearful of us. Um, and that plays a lot into, there's a lot of, so I don't know if you guys know this, but I don't know the exact timeline for it's at least decades now. We've been broadcasting a signal into deep space that contains a bunch of information about us, like our location in the galactic map, um, our technological state, and our advancements, what we are capable of. I think we even are broadcasting like our genetic sequence. You can look it up. Like it's a public, like a known public thing, but we're just broadcasting this into deep space. And a lot of people that may not directly believe in the dark forest answer to the Fermi paradox, but believe in something similar, are very opposed to that idea of we're just broadcasting all this information about ourselves into deep space when we have no idea what's out there.
Yeah,
And
dude.
that it's
Can
an
you? Sorry, go ahead. Finish that.
oh no, just that it's dangerous.
Yeah, dude. Can you imagine somebody comes across of it, right? Comes across and like deciphers it, right, and is able to understand. It's like, oh, that's cute. You guys got sticks to defend yourselves with.
Right.
That shit's scary, dude. Yet here we
So
think we have, like super
Oh, okay,
powerful weapons.
I just want to note that too, right? It's like, you know, the speed of light is faster than sound, right?
3 times 10 to the 8.
Damn, even
So by
put
the
in a
time
number
let's say there's a fucking planet like way the fuck out there. I don't know, way the fuck out there, light years away. Wouldn't it be like by the time they hear whatever we sent out there, like we're already like fucking years ahead of that?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No. Well,
Yeah,
we're also
the guy's like,
seeing the stars, as they were,
yeah,
however many light years ago it took that light to get to us.
some guys like reading this, like, oh my god, dude, they're really running around with sticks and drawing on rocks. But like by now we have like nuclear missiles
Yeah, but
that
at the
could
same
demolish our own world.
right. But at the same time, um, if they're a spacefaring race, they have to understand, like, oh, this was transmitted as a radio wave. This took, however long to reach
Yeah,
us. Like,
if they have that technology, you
we
assume
don't
they
know.
understand how it works.
Right, and they'd assume, like, oh, like this, like they're probably, substantially more advanced now.
So how far do we know that it's reached?
I mean, it's
Has it even reached the closest star to us? Or even past that?
let's see. How far
Because the
has
closest star is still like really, really far, right? Like how many light years away is it?
I think it's only like it's a couple, but it's nothing massive. Okay, so the nearest star is 4.3 light years away. So they've been traveling for 100 years. The oldest radio transmissions that have gone into space are over 100 years old. They have not reached the near. It's going to take 2.5 million years for them to reach the nearest galaxy. No, but I don't care. This is just talking about an Andromeda galaxy.
It says antennas of the Deep Space Network. 230 foot diameter, capable of tracking a spacecraft traveling tens of billions of miles from Earth. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, but the thing is like at that point you have to adjust because the thing is I don't know if you guys know this, but space is expanding.
Yeah, I know.
And yeah, and so if depending on where you're looking and the ratio for how space is expanding, it will take different amounts of time for a signal, even traveling at the speed of light, to reach a certain point and come back. Granted, I don't even, but how far did you say? How far?
It said 10. It said tens of. It's able to communicate with spacecraft tens of billions of miles away.
Okay, so that's technically two magnitudes of separation away from a light year. A light year is 5.88 trillion miles.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah,
So and in the grand scheme of the universe, you talk in light
it's
years,
nothing.
so it's not that much.
That's like leaving your city.
That's
Maybe.
not even so it can't even.
It's like leaving your neighborhood.
You can't even reach the next nearest star system because that's 4.2 light years away.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. Dude, you know one thing, like the thing that like scares me? So on how light travels, if our sun would, go out, like, just like out of nowhere it would just go out, it would take 8 minutes for us to realize.
Is
More
it?
than that, no?
Yeah, 8.3 light minutes. So yeah, it'd take 8.3 minutes.
To realize it's just gone, dude. And then at the
Yeah.
same time, if it just like
we're dead.
disappears, yeah, if it
We'd be dead.
disappears at the same time we find out, we're just launched into space. I mean, you obviously wouldn't be alive to like be freaking out or anything. Like everything would just be frozen, right? Would it be instant?
So yeah, we'd be shot off into space. Yeah, the temperature would probably change so rapidly everyone would die nearly instantly.
Damn, dude, that's crazy.
Because we'd basically just become the same temperature as.
Peace.
No, because it would take some time because the atmosphere would contain some of the heat for some time. I don't know how long though.
It also depends on what happened to the star, like what happened to the sun. You know what I'm saying? Like, did it just disappear?
Yeah,
Or most likely it fucking blew up and
well, no, if
there's a
it
huge
blew up,
fucking
then
flaming.
we would die. If it
That's what I'm saying,
expanded,
yeah.
we would die.
I
But
mean,
no,
but there'd be some pause between the actual explosion and us seeing that it's not there anymore. Like we'd see the actual physical ramifications of the sun exploding or disappearing or whatever wouldn't be felt until after we stop seeing sunlight.
Yeah.
so how long? So we wouldn't die instantly then? So we'd have a little bit of moment to freak out.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not enough to realize it.
How fast?
Well, that's what Scott's saying, that it would last a little bit, so we would be able
But
to
the
see.
thing is the heat from the photons that the photons carry, if that just disappeared before there's any physical ramifications, you might experience a heat death because the temperature of the surface of the earth would just drop and plummet. I mean, but like I said, there is going to be some thermal insulation from the atmosphere, but I don't know how long it would maintain a livable temperature on Earth. So it's more of a race of would we die of like something physical, like a shock wave from the sun exploding, making the Earth explode, or would we die because the surface of the Earth just became an Arctic wasteland in an instant? You know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, to make it like easier, I guess, right? Let's like just as a like hypothetical thing, right? Let's say like since we're talking about aliens, right? In order for aliens to travel, they need the same amount of energy as like a star. So they came here, and then they just ended up basically sucking up that our star, right? In order to use their fuel, and then they're just gone. So like it just vanishes like that. We wouldn't realize it until like 8 minutes, right? So then if it's like an instant vanish, would that be different than blowing up?
Well, so if the thing is if they, I'm pretty sure you'd be like if you harvested all of the nuclear energy from the sun, I think you might be left with a neutron star. Let me double check. Okay, so if the core were to collapse, it could become a neutron star. It could become a supernova. It could become a black hole. So it would just kind of depend.
Oh, really? Yo, speaking of black holes, bro, there's so much theory on those things.
Yeah.
Dude, those are actually scary, dude.
Well, then the thing is like now you start talking about so space is time. Like you guys know that, right?
Sure, let's pretend I do.
So space is time and time is space. They're considered
Wait,
inseparable.
hold on. I thought time was something humans ended up creating or in order to like for concept or whatever, but I
Well,
thought
but space, you could argue that that's the same thing for space too. Because it's both something that our brain processes. Our brain processes a three-dimensional space around us, and our brain processes this forward-moving, phenomena that we call time. It's the
okay.
same thing. At the end of the day, all of this is just human construct. So under human construct, we found Einstein, conjectures in his theories of relativity and everything that it's basically been proven too that time and space are they're one unit. They're not separate. Like you don't have one without the other. If
Right,
you
that's
have
the MC.
well, no, that's different.
Oh,
That's
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 different.
that
Okay, okay.
yeah, that's that energy has mass.
Oh,
E
okay,
equals
okay.
mc squared. That's saying that energy from mass
Right,
is
energy
equal
times
to mass
mass.
times the
Yeah,
speed
okay.
of light squared.
Right,
So
right, right. Sorry.
and the way he explains that, because Einstein was a very big thought experiment guy. So he talks about how if you were to take a unwound watch and a wound watch, the wound watch would actually have a higher mass than the wound watch, or I'm sorry, the unwound watch, because that energy has mass.
Okay.
But so basically,
Wow, okay.
like with black holes are basically as and then like in math, I think I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast or if it was on stream or not. I think I might have brought it up to you, but like in math, like zero and infinity are technically not like it's like they are things, but they're also concepts more so than anything. So like different zeros aren't necessarily equal to each other. Like when you look at it from a more like almost pure math perspective, like zero isn't necessarily equal to zero and infinity isn't necessarily equal to infinity. It's just saying that a number has gotten so big we're not going to bother counting it anymore, or a number's gotten so small we're not going to bother counting it anymore. Like there is like the ideas of there being nothing and the ideas of there being an infinite amount of something are definitely there, but when you're doing like actual math, like if you've ever taken calculus and you do limits, like the big thing, like sometimes if you have infinity over zero, you'll solve to try and see which one approaches the if your thing that's approaching infinity approaches infinity faster than the thing that's approaching zero approaches zero, and then you can find a limit based off of that. So uh but we think of black holes as having, quote unquote infinite mass, and because of that, it causes time to instantly all occur at once. You have infinite mass, you have infinite time, because mass is what creates space. Like, so, and also like under like relativity, like gravity isn't really a force, it's a consequence of mass. Like, I'm sure
Okay.
you've seen the thing where like they spread a blanket out and they put like a ball,
Yeah, yeah,
like a
yeah.
heavy, and then like, yeah, it's that idea, is that mass creates ripples in space time.
Okay. And
And
then
that's
black holes are the heaviest, right? When it comes to like that type of stuff, right? Like with gravity, it's like the heaviest
right. So I mean,
that
like I
ends up
said,
curving it.
we we count them as infinite, right?
Right.
Like infinite mass. But there's different types, like different magnitudes of infinity. So not all black holes are necessarily equal in their infinite mass. It just gets to a point where we either choose not to or we can't calculate like a difference between them. But yeah, we think of them as just these spots of infinite mass where it creates like at a certain point, you have, what is it, your the edge horizon, where you've gotten, close enough to a black hole that you're no longer able to escape its gravitational force. And then at its center is where you would have like an infinite gravitational force, where you'd have your true point of infinite mass. But the conjecture is, if you were to fall into a black hole, you would see the entirety of the universe's timeline in an instant.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah, that's one of the conjectures. I mean, there's the other conjecture of, because it's a fundamental principle of science is that energy can neither be created nor destroyed.
Yeah.
So there's this idea that at the end of black holes, there's white holes, and they shoot out an infinite amount of mass. Like, basically, that white holes and black holes are connected, and where black holes infinitely suck mass in, white holes infinitely spit mass out. And they're almost used like, it's different than a wormhole though, because wormholes have to do with folds in space time. Like for
Okay.
wormholes, the conjecture for that, or a really good like quick experiment people will do to kind of explain them, is you take a piece of paper, you fold it in half, and then shove a pencil through it, and then you lay the paper back out flat, and it's like those two holes are connected even though the plane is flat. But you think of it like when the paper's folded, is like there's an invisible curvature to space-time that we're not able to perceive or notice, and these wormholes allow you to take advantage of that curvature to go extreme distances in what you would view as just a linear flat plane.
Yeah, I've heard of that, and I've also heard that black holes could potentially end up being that, where like where one is created, there's another one that gets created somewhere else, and they're connected that way.
Like another black hole, or another,
Yeah,
like
no,
what
another
I was
black hole. Yeah, no, the white hole thing. I haven't even heard of white holes, to be honest with you.
uh, well, they've never been proven. It like a
Oh,
lot of
so
this
it's
stuff
it's
is conjecture. It's
oh,
just
so it's a
conjecture.
spectrum. Okay,
Well,
so
I, I mean, just black holes in general were, when was it was relative. So the thing is like a lot of this stuff, there's special solutions to Einstein's theory of relativity. It's basically like when we have this equation and we plug in like limits or extreme values into it, like what can we gain from the answers that these have. So a lot of these things were conjecture from solving special cases of Einstein's equations from his theory of relativity. But now we know they're true. Like even somewhat recently, like gravitational waves, there's conjecture that there's actual ripples in the space-time continuum when something like a black hole or a supernova occurs, where you have just this massive amount of mass like that, there's conjecture that that has to have some effect on space-time as a whole. And we did somewhat recently prove that, like that they are a thing. We have detected gravitational waves, and they were conjectured long before they were proven, because of the math that Einstein came up with. And there's other things too that are special solutions to, I believe they're referred to as the field equations, from Einstein's theory of relativity. So, like all different kinds of stuff like that, which I think is really interesting. Is like, you know, you come up with these sets of equations years ago, and then years later, somebody finds a special solution to it, and then years after that, the thing that was found mathematically is proven like physically,
Yeah. Wasn't he also, what was the thing that he was told that he was wrong, but then years later it came to be that he was actually right.
I don't, I can't think of anything in particular
There was
like
something
that.
that he ended up doing the math, and at that time they told him that it couldn't happen and that it was wrong. But then years later, we ended up finding out that he was actually right. But this was way after he passed away. I feel like there was something. I don't remember what it was though. Again, I don't 100% remember things, or at least when it comes to this, I don't know 100% like the thing.
Um,
But did you know what's curious now that we're talking about black holes? There's where they found out that there's basically a giant black hole at the end, at the middle of like
the galaxy, yeah,
galaxy.
yeah.
Is it on every galaxy?
Yeah,
Is
well,
that how galaxies are made?
certain galaxies, because there are different types of galaxies. So
Okay.
we're a spiral galaxy, and they believe that there is a supermassive black hole. Like, because if you think about it, something has to hold all these solar systems together, right?
Right.
And what holds things together? Mass. What has such a massive amount of mass that's going to hold in a bunch of massive objects? It has to be a supermassive black hole. I
So
don't know if they've ever like proven it, but that is what the conjecture is that there are supermassive black holes, at least at the center of spiral galaxies.
okay, which makes a lot of sense. But have they ever like talked about what would happen if two galaxies collided with one another and two massive black holes came that close to one another?
Yeah, no, they actually have, because I mean, it won't be any time in our lifetime. I think it's still a couple billion years away from happening. But the Milky Way galaxy and the Andromeda galaxy are
Yeah,
going to
I
collide
know
with each
that.
other.
Yeah, I know that.
Um,
But what would happen?
so the conjecture is that nothing would happen, because I believe it's above 90% of a galaxy is just empty space.
So the black holes would not like collide with one another. They would just, or would it just like kind of like
Well,
make one bigger one, or
well, it would depend. If they got close enough to each other to where they would either spiral, like their gravitational forces got caught in one another and then they started to spiral into each other, then yeah, you would have two black holes that collide, which I believe creates an even larger black hole. But don't quote me on that. But if like, it's possible that if they don't get close enough to kind of like, so you know how like if an asteroid or a comet gets close to the Earth but doesn't get completely caught in its gravitational
yeah, it'll get
pull,
like flung.
right, it'll just curve and shoot off. Like that's probably what'll end up happening, is they'll just curve around each other and then get shot off. Because you got to think about it too, like these galaxies are moving at just astronomical speeds, and they would have to get close enough to each other for the gravitational force to overcome that. And I think it's so great that the speeds that they're moving at is that they'd basically just like the supermassive black holes would just have to be on a dead collision course, which I don't think they are. So I don't think anything from what I've read and listened to about it, chances are nothing's going to end up happening because there is just so much dead space that makes up galaxies.
Right, right. But what would happen if they did spin and then they just both got flung in different directions? Like they just both took off. Would then the galaxy no longer? Because I mean, like all of them came together, but there's nothing holding them in the middle. So would it still be like just a cluster of like it would just be a galaxy, but just like a cluster? It wouldn't be like a spiral anymore, right?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what NASA has to say.
And then these massive black holes, they
NASA's not reputable.
huh?
NASA's not reputable.
Oh, okay.
They lie about the moon landing.
Okay, Curtis.
And these massive black holes, they basically have like just eaten up so much that they just can't eat anymore, correct? Like that's why like everything that's around it.
Well, no, I'm sure that there's dead space around it where anything that would go into that would get sucked into it.
Oh,
Like
okay.
there, like I said, there's a point where, well, it's like the moon. The moon doesn't hit Earth because it's far enough away where it's caught in our orbit, but it's close enough to where it's caught in our orbit, but far enough away to where it's not going to collide with us.
Dude, that would be so trippy to like see. Like imagine just being like one of those like stars or planets near it, and you just basically go outside and it's just like emptiness.
So it looks like certain. No, it looks like most of them are considered to have supermassive black holes at the center. Many are thought to have supermassive black holes at the center. The Milky Way's central black hole, known as Sagittarius A, has a mass of 4 million times greater than that of the sun. So yeah, like
1 million or billion?
4 million times
Million.
greater than
Okay.
that of the sun.
Wow. Still a shit ton though.
Well, that's what is that? Million is 10 to the 6? Yeah, 10 to the 6. So that's 6 magnitudes larger than the sun.
Damn.
Like that's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean it looks like for the most part we've I don't know if we've I mean this article talks like we have proven that there is a supermassive black hole at the center of our universe. But it's conjecture that like other universes have them. Like we haven't necessarily observed them, but you know, in theory, they should.
Dude, you know what I don't know, like so talking about the God, what you said the name. What was the galaxy that's gonna collide with ours? The Milky Way?
Oh, Andromeda.
Yeah, so you know what I like when I found that out, I was like, damn, dude. I'm gonna like the thing that made me sad is like I'm gonna miss going outside and then just getting to see like all the stars and stuff like that like near us, you know, or getting to see the galaxy, that galaxy like getting closer, you know. I feel like that would be like a really cool view to like just go outside at night and then just get. I don't know. I love like just like stargazing. So um,
I mean,
I think
I
that'd
mean, a
end up
lot of
being.
that though comes from like you can't see in the city because of light pollution.
Right, right. You know one place I want to go to, bro? It's there. It's one of the islands in Hawaii. God, I forget the
Utah.
name. Huh?
Utah.
Utah?
You can see a lot of stars in Utah.
Oh, I haven't been there, but no, there's one place in Hawaii where you basically like go up the mountain and like there's no like pollution or anything, and you get to like see the stars just like yeah, you get to basically see the Milky Way basically.
Yeah, because you can see the actual like Milky Way in an area with near zero light pollution.
Right. Yeah. One day I'll be there. Yeah, dude. No, I think that would just be such a cool trip, though. Cause even like when you kind of like go up a mountain or anything like that, and you get to see like more stars, right? I don't know about you, but like for me, when I'm like just staring like straight up, it's like such a trip just to like be like, damn, we're basically just like a floating rock, and we're just traveling at such a speed, and like you just don't feel it.
I mean, that's exactly what we are. We're a speck of dust zooming through an infinite void at some astronomical speed.
Right, but when you like stop and just like look at it, and you're just like, damn, dude, like, and you just get like that time to soak in. But then again, the Earth could potentially be flat, and like they're just lights on
Okay,
top.
no. Okay, no.
Right, Curtis? I think that's what Curtis said.
No, that's just dumb.
You guys
Uh,
have heard that one, right?
of
Where like
course.
there's just like all the stars are just lights, and there's just somebody
Yeah,
flipping the
yeah.
switch
Yeah,
on
no,
and off.
it's I think it's called the firmament, the firmament. Yeah, so yeah, it's this right here. So it's this belief that yeah, we're like in this yeah, oh God, why this picture is already giving me a freaking headache just looking at it. But yeah, that we're just basically in a bubble. It's biblical cosmology. The firmament is a vast solid dome created by God during the Genesis creation narrative to divide the primal sea in the upper and lower portions so that dry land could appear. The concept was adopted into subsequent classical/medieval models of heavenly spheres, but was dropped with advances in astronomy in the 16th and 17th centuries. Today, it serves as a synonym for sky or heaven. But I know a lot of people that believe in the flat Earth conspiracy theory also believe in the firmament, and that it is just this giant bubble that God created that separates, you know, the primal sea into whatever that means, the upper and lower portions.
I mean,
But and
nothing's
then
impossible.
considering we have pictures of the Earth from space and a lot of them from different countries, like that's highly doubtful.
I mean, if they fake the moon landing.
So you think multiple countries have gotten together and the one thing that they cooperated on is making everyone think the earth is round?
Yeah. I mean, if they have the power to fake the moon landing, right,
No, no,
Curtis?
no. That's not what I'm asking though.
Oh, okay.
I'm
That's
asking
Hollywood.
you, I'm asking you if you think that the one thing that the powers that be from multiple different uh countries that
Hollywood.
don't like each other have decided on it's to convince the world population that the earth is round.
Yeah, maybe they
I'm
just
sorry, the
like
earth is
spheres,
flat.
maybe like everybody that got
Oh
there is
yeah,
just
the earth
like,
is round.
yeah, like spheres are like
God
fierce is
works in
where it's at,
mysterious
bro.
ways.
They were handing out like, just a ball. Hold on.
Wow. Wow. You can't even say that
Uh,
without
You know,
laughing.
I always saw this quote I see on TikTok is the fuck, what's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson.
yeah.
Is he was talking, he's on a podcast and he said, if you were to take the Earth, right,
Or is this a
and all
cue
the
ball one?
yeah, dude, and he was like, if you took the Earth and it would be smoother than a cue ball with all its value, like mountains and valleys, no matter what it is, right? It would still be smoother than a cue ball.
Well, any cue ball
And
that we can manufacture currently on Earth.
yeah, like, that's tough, dude. Like you think like Mount Everest and like Kilimanjaro and all this shit, like the mountains are way up there. You're like, oh, dude, if I ran my finger over it, it'd be rough as fuck.
Well, I mean, we could do the math. We can do the math. So let's just look at let's look at, okay, what's the diameter of the Earth?
He's like, we can do the math. Me and Curtis, you're like, what?
Okay. Okay. So the Earth is 7,617.5 miles. Okay. How tall is Mount Everest in miles? It's 5.4984. So all we have to do is take that and divide it by the diameter of the Earth. The average diameter of the Earth. Okay, so 5.4984 divided by 7,917.5. That is point oh 0.06 0.07%. That is, I don't know of any manufacturing that can get that low in variation. Less than a percent in variation. Most, it's like if you want something finely manufactured or finely tuned, it's like 1% to 0.5% of variation. Like, this is substantially, like, there's substantially less, and that's the maximum variation. That's not like the average. So in reality, it's even less than that. You know what I mean? That's just what happens. And I think when I saw that, I've only seen the clip. I haven't seen the whole interview, but I think where he was kind of getting at with that, at least how I see it, is like, I think that's a very good way to just talk about the scale of the universe, you know?
Yeah.
Like, things are just so massive that what we perceive as massive is actually just insignificant in the grand scheme of things. It's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. It's all about relativity. That's exactly what, Einstein's theory of relativity is based around. Everything is relative to the observer. You could even say that that's the case for quantum mechanics as well, because particles only exist in certain places when they are observed by an observer. So technically, if we had something that was behind, if two of us were in a, windowless room and we had an object behind us and we had our backs turned, and I turn around and look at it and then turn back around, and then the other person turns around and looked at it, technically we didn't see the same thing. Like, there's a high probability that we did not technically just look at the same object. Because it wasn't being observed. I observed it. It goes into a certain state. I turn around and it's no longer observed. It goes back into a state of uncertainty. And then the other person turns around, observes it, and it's entered a new state of certainty. And I mean, there is a probability that it'll be the same state, but
that's every goddamn time I look in the mirror. Say, oh, what a skinny son of a bitch. Turn around. Come on, that's a fat motherfucker in the mirror again. God damn it.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, something like that.
Damn,
Basically,
bro.
you're saying I'm skinny. And I appreciate that.
You're
all
whatever
about
you want to be, buddy. It's all in the eye of the beholder.
I mean, hey, Curtis, go to the moon, bro. You weigh less there.
Yeah, it's true. Your density would be the same, but your weight would be different.
Well, if you don't step on a scale, you don't know your weight, which is what I do. That's how I stay so skinny. I don't weigh myself.
Okay. But damn, bro, no, that's something though to think about.
I've never experienced anything.
No, like, I mean, what have you heard any alien stories?
Other than just people saying they've seen weird things in the sky. Like, you're talking about, like, personally, right?
Well, not personally, but yeah, like maybe like a abduction story, maybe like somebody saw them, maybe they were at a party once,
Yeah. People all the time when we would stand watch at night, you'd have to like topside rover, right? You just walk around the flight deck all night for 12 hours, right? People would always see. I mean, you'd always see shit that you're like, oh, well, that's not normal, you know. And then you call it in, like, oh yeah, it's a drone, you know. But I mean, even Flinton, my buddy, he'll tell you, big dude, I've seen fucking lights fly across the sky, you know. And like again, okay, yeah, is it a meteor? I don't know, sure.
Satellite.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, a satellite. You know, but if you talk to him, like if you would ask him about it, he'd be like, dude, no, that shit was, I don't know what the fuck it was. It wasn't nothing I've ever seen. You know, because he'll tell you like it went back and forth. He'll be like, dude, I watched it go left, right, up, down.
Yeah, but
You know,
you guys are also like doing this like a lot of the times you're sleep deprived, you know? Like you just got off of a
you're
like
fucking
eight,
miserable.
10 hour shift and now you're staying up still on another
Oh, and you walk,
12-hour shift.
yeah, and you walk around for 12 hours. You know, like nonstop. You're just walking around, can't sit down. You know, they'll give you like half-hour break here and there, but for the most part, you're walking around for 12 hours.
Yeah.
You know, in the middle of the night, you see nothing but lights. And it doesn't help that you're in like we're in, I think when he was telling me the story, they were in port. So, I mean, and ports have lights every fucking where. On the pier, on the, you know, the towers, there's lights everywhere. Blinking lights, flashing lights. You know, but again, if in his perspective, this light went back and forth like he's never seen before. Can I confirm it's true? No, not necessarily, because I wasn't there. But I mean, in his eyes, that was a fucking UFO. You know what flies like that? What moves like that? I don't know.
You know, what if like did you know that whole entire thing like they walk among us? Like what
The
if
Mongols.
it's like true?
Skinwalker.
Like what if it like they basically are great mimics and they're able to like, you know, or what if they
Hey,
have like
weird.
a technology to like, you know, like I guess like be like, you know,
Like copy you, clone
copy,
you.
yeah. Well, not clone you, but like
I mean,
copy on how a human will look. And maybe they just okay, this one would end up being way far out there, but they just do tours, you know? Hey, be a human for a week or some shit. No, but in all reality though, what if like they do have like a thing to like mimic, you know? And they just like walk.
why? It's not as crazy as it sounds, right? Like you see these fucking things that are moving. If they have spaceships that can fucking disappear in a blink of an eye, why would it be so crazy to think that they wouldn't be able to, you know, copy how we dress or walk or move or talk or, you know, we have AI that does it. You know, we're almost there.
Dude,
Like to
that whole
think of the
entire
like,
thing of AI fucking scares me, dude.
you know, like we're almost there. So if we're close to it, you know, why would the fucking
Yeah.
why would
Why
they
wouldn't
be
they be able to
surpassed
do
that
it?
already?
Yeah.
Why would they be surpassed that already?
But do you guys think they actually do visit us? Do you guys think like no that there's no way? Maybe like you know like Scott was saying like maybe there isn't a civilization that is that advanced yet in the you know universe, or do you guys think they kind of like see us as like too dumb to even try to interact, right? Because like we have so much fucking waste around our planet now, don't we?
Yeah.
So, you know, it wouldn't be like a very welcoming like thing, right? Can you imagine what if like we just become the trash planet? They just start dumping all their trash. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think they have actually they're around, they're studying us? Like if you just had to like you know like no like reasoning and thought, right? Just something that you would like to think is maybe like what's happening, right? Which one would you pick?
I would say that like I think there's a good possibility that they'd know, like they'd be aware of us existing, but I feel like if they're so advanced that they could come visit us, I feel like they would have no reason to come visit us because we don't offer anything, we don't bring anything to the table,
Right.
so to speak, unless like our planet had a resource that they wanted. But in that case, it's like if they're so much more technologically advanced than us, why would they just ask? Why wouldn't they just take it? Like they only have, you know, something to lose if they try to form some kind of, trade or whatever with us. So, that's kind of how I see it, is like we just haven't done anything yet to warrant like them actually contacting us.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. For me, I think it's more of a like they're observing us like we observe animals, like their behavior, like basically just like studying basically. Like I think that's my take of it.
Got back.
Oh.
What was the question?
Um like if you had to believe, right? Sorry, not believe, like just what do you want to be, like, I guess, in a way, true, right? Or what would you believe, like, for aliens, right? Like if like maybe there's the civilizations just haven't gotten there for space travel, or maybe they just see us as too dumb for them to visit us, right? Or are they actually visiting us, or like what would you believe?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one thing. I hope is not true. Probing. Like off the rip. Hope that's not true.
Sorry,
Okay.
you broke up. What was that?
Probing. I hope probing is not true. I hope that's just something, you know, people made up.
Okay.
Because that would piss me off, dude. If I get kidnapped and that's how I get treated, um, but I think, I kind of believe the idea of like, why would they come here, right? That's like it's like us going back to cavemen, right? Where they just discovered fire. What does that do for us? Nothing,
Well, we
right?
again, we can study them. We can study how, like, they're how they ended up living, how they ended up surviving. We can study on like how
From a
us are
historical, like
learning.
you want to know, yeah, from a historical you want to know perspective, sure. You want, oh well, this is where it came from, cool. But like from a perspective of if I want to conquer you or I wanted something from you, you know, there's zero
Well, maybe
value in
not
going
even
back to
just
that.
like a historical standpoint, but also more of like a biological standpoint as well. But sorry,
Yeah,
finish your train of thought.
I'm thinking perspective of like what would make them want to come here. You know,
Okay.
if they're so advanced that they can travel so fast, they can travel light years at a time. You know, they have unlimited speed, whatever's powering their vehicles or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They have all that. What would Earth have that they would want? You know, besides just studying us or being like, wow, these are the dumbest motherfuckers I've ever seen. You know, like, but I get it. I mean, but if you think of it that way, right? It's like you go outside and you like look at an anthill. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, it's a fucking ant. It has no value to me. I'm not going to eat them. You know, they're not keeping anything I want. But it's also cool to say, well, that's a big ass anthill. There's a lot of ants in there. Let's see how they work. You know, from a knowledge perspective, it's cool, but I don't know. Other than, I think them like coming to conquer us. I think that idea is kind of ridiculous, right? Because unless they're just conquering us, just like demolish us and that's it. I can't believe there's anything here they would want. It's not if it's not just to demolish us, then it is just them, stopping by to watch what we're doing. You know, just like we would watch, just like people have ant farms. It's the same exact thing. You know, what if it's like they have the aliens, right? But what if it's only like a couple of them? Like there's only like a handful of alien researchers that care about Earth. You know, like there would be a handful of humans that care about ants. Like all the other fucking aliens, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you going over there? That's it. That's the only logical thing I would see that makes sense to my head.
You know what's one interesting thing that I find is that they every time we like try to like depict it like aliens, right? Or try to like imagine them, or even in like drawings or cartoons, whatever it would be, um we either depict them as like humans, right? Like looking like us, or just like an animal but with like a human body. Has there ever been like an way, except, well, I guess the blob, right? The blob would probably be one of them, where it would just end up being goo. But I
Well, I
don't
mean,
100% remember that movie, so I don't know.
there's been all kinds of alien depictions at this point. So yeah, there's definitely been more like non-human looking ones.
Like which ones?
There's some oh god.
That are neither animal, right? They're not like animal that are here from like, Earth. Like just like a weird, like just completely something, just out there.
There's definitely some out there ones in like Star Wars. Like Jabba the Hutt. The Hutts.
Slug. It's just a giant slug.
There's definitely been like even Men in Black, I think, has had some like goo looking aliens depicted in it.
I don't remember that. Yeah, I don't remember that. I would have to look at a picture or something. But no, I get what you mean, right? Like there are some like that are just like, wow, that's like actually pretty creative. But like at the same time, it's like I feel like we can't, like go out of what we like basically see, I guess, right?
Well, there's that, but also you got to remember like there's certain things that appear, but again, this is still biased by when you're looking at the grand scheme of things, you're still biasing this to Earth. But it's like there's certain things that you like features and uh like of animals that you see that pop up across multiple species in nature because the universe tends towards efficiency and certain features are just considered more efficient than others.
But would that also fall into like what we know, right?
That's what I just said, though.
Oh,
I
okay.
said that's still biased by what we view on Earth. But I think there's just, and again, that's why they say life as we know it.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Like, I'm sure there's definitely some out there depictions of aliens, either just on the internet or in movies. Or what about the xenomorph? Would you consider that humanoid?
I actually don't know what that is.
The alien from Alien with the little
Oh,
mouth inside the
oh,
big
right, right,
mouth?
right. Sorry. Yeah, no, okay, I know what that is. No, but there is an animal that kind of looks like that though.
What
Again, if
animal?
if they came across it, right, or they ended up depicting it, um it doesn't look 100% like it, but the like the face, the head shape looks like it.
I think the aliens in Prey too, the video game Prey, I don't really think because they're like black masses from what I remember.
What I was gonna say, yeah, dude, I don't remember I'm pretty sure it's a type of fish though. It's like a type of fish that looks like that, or warm. I don't remember though, 100%. But
There's this one.
what I was gonna say is, what if like they're just like shadows? What if they're just shadows? You know?
Oh, like what I was talking about last week.
Yeah. Oh, look, here it is. It's.
Okay, yeah, but it still has a very unique body too. Like, yeah, it's bipedal and it has arms, but the body is not. I wouldn't necessarily call it humanoid.
Whoa, that sounded so weird. Sorry, say that one more time.
So, like the xenomorphs, they're bipedal and they have arms, but I still wouldn't call the body like humanoid per se, because it has a tail. It has a giant tail. Um, and like almost like an exoskeleton.
Yeah, but again, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
There's
Yeah.
this thing. There's this thing. Oh, fuck, dude. Tardigrades?
Oh, tardigrades. Yeah.
I don't know. I can't fucking tell from the picture. Is it a virus, motherfucker, or what is it? Is it a germ? What is
I
this thing?
bel I'd have to see a picture of it, but I believe they're virus.
So it basically says they can survive basically anything. They can survive extreme heat, extreme cold, insane radiation, and vacuum of space. They reproduce in space. Basically, whenever they're exposed to things they can't handle, they go into a cryptobiotic state. Basically, deep sleep where they shut off until things get better. In this way, some tardigrades are technically 100 years or older. But I don't. It's got to be some sort of like germ or virus thing,
Yeah, no,
like a
definitely.
microscopic.
Yeah, I've heard of viruses and germs that are able to survive space. So
Yo,
Things that we know about that can survive that. You're
yo,
gonna tell me there's nothing out there that couldn't survive it?
well, there's also the theory that if we like, there's this idea that like one of the ways that you'd help sustain a large civilization, like a type 2 or I guess this would be more leaning towards like a type 3, is that you'd basically create like AI sentient robots that just go do all your mining for you, right? That go off and they're able to basically, like, I don't know if reproduce would be the right word in this instance, more of like, but just able to construct new versions of itself. Um, and just keep doing that infinitely while mining, like, basically, like, it's like a net positive in terms of the resources it's using to mine and create new versions of itself, but still being able to extract enough resources to send back to the home world. Well, there's this idea of like, what if like a sentient like species or race of miner robots exists, but the civilization that created them collapsed, years ago, and now they just kind of exist like endlessly wandering the stars, extracting material and sending it back to a planet that's dead because everything that lived there once died long ago, but they're just following their programming to continue extracting and sending back those resources while having, I guess, some degree of sentience and self-awareness, enough to plan out a path to mine and do all that, but maybe not enough to recognize that their once creators are now dead and gone. I mean, we'll probably do a Dyson sphere before that.
what's that?
So basically, it's this idea of like solar panels to like the most extreme sense, where you literally take and as much as you can surround the sun and solar energy harvesting equipment. And that's actually one of the things that we look for. So other than like the broadcasting of signals like we do, one of the things that people have conjectured that type 1 or type 2 or maybe even well, technically there can't be any type 3 civilizations in the Milky Way because we'd know about them. Because by definition, they'd be extracting all usable resources in the Milky Way. Well, I mean, granted, actually, technically, you could say they could exist. It's just that, like we were talking about earlier, the human race as a whole is in like some kind of jail state here on Earth. But, anyways, there's this idea that you basically put like a billboard in front of the sun, but like obviously you're not going to write anything on it. It's just that it's going to cross the sun at periodic rates, and it will be a non-cosmic shape, so that if someone were observing our sun, or someone was observing this species sun, they would see this non-cosmically shaped object randomly blocking out portions of the sun. So there, in theory, would technically have to be some kind of knowledgeable, intelligent space-faring or semi-face-faring race of beings inhabiting that solar system that put that up.
Brain's
Maybe
kind
the
of fried here.
aliens are the friends we made along the way.
Dude, what if is there a theory where like actually I don't know where I was going that, but let me ask you guys this. If you out of all the animals on earth, right? If you had to just pick one, right, that you would say, yeah, I think this one would end up like it looks the most alienish, right? Which one would it be?
Oh, dude, there's some deep sea fish that look really weird.
Yeah.
Um,
For me, my pick, dude, would have to be that squid that they ended up finding by accident at the
oh,
end of the oil rigs.
yeah, the one that was watching that oil rig, that camera,
Yeah,
that video we were talking about on the
yeah.
ocean podcast. Yeah, there's I don't know if I could pick just one, but there is definitely like a ton of deep ocean species of fish and things that look super alien.
I would have to honestly. The more I kind of like learn about them, right, recently, I would have to say sectopods are probably one of them too. I'll bandwagon on that theory that they came here
They're
in a meteorite.
aliens.
Yeah, came here on a meteorite. Curtis, what about yourself, buddy? What do you say if you had to just pick one?
I look at land because I mean, sea animals are just fucking weird, dude.
Yeah,
So that guy, like Scott said, there's so many that you could be like, that's an alien. So I'm looking at like land animals.
the platypus is actually a pretty interesting one. I think
Yeah,
it's the only mammal that lays eggs too, which is also another interesting thing.
yeah.
But it didn't at one point everybody laid eggs. Wasn't that like the main?
I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. I could
I'm
have
not.
just made that up 100%.
Well, I don't. I'm just saying I don't. I'm not very up to date on my biology, so.
No worries.
This thing, a star-nosed mole.
Oh yeah, those things look pretty weird. I've seen those before.
Yeah, same here. They're pretty cute too, though. I'd say they're pretty cute.
In a weird like a hedgehog. A hedgehog could easily be an alien.
I mean, like the moles and like deep sea fish kind of make sense though, because if you think about it, they're living in environments that are just very inhospitable to humans, right? Because moles are deep underground and fish are deep under the sea. So,
But I don't know. Can't we survive underground though? Hasn't there been like a plan for it?
well, yeah, but I mean, that's like we can't just survive underground as is. We'd have to build shelters and things like that. Whereas, the mole rat just exists. It's not existing because of its ability to build somewhere safe for itself.
But I'm pretty sure they do build like
Actually,
homes and stuff. Oh, not like
Yeah,
actual
well,
homes, but like
yeah,
they
no,
have
but
like.
you know what I mean when I'm saying that. Like, we have to build specific things in order for us to survive, versus that
Okay.
is
Yeah.
able to build, you know, things for comfort, but it doesn't necessarily like need to make that to survive, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Right, like
Like
we
it's
need like air filters and like yeah, okay,
right,
yeah,
all
I see
that.
that.
Yeah.
I get what you're
It
saying.
would we would make it hospitable for us.
Right.
We're not just biologically designed to exist under, layers of sediment and dirt.
I know you kind of said this, but they're technically different. An octopus. If you were to ask me what animal is alien, octopus.
That's what a
Every day of the week.
sectopod is.
Yeah, that's what a cephalopod is.
But yeah, no,
Thoughts? I thought you said squid or something.
oh
The
yeah, but
the
then I said
this
sectopods. But
100%.
yeah, no, dude, 100%. The more you learn about them, bro, the more you're like, dude, this thing's on another level. And like I said, bro, like last time when we were talking about the ocean, like I said, I do think like if they were a little bit more social or didn't have to reset, right? Every single time they end up reproducing, it could be a possibility that they could also end up like, making a civilization for themselves just based on how like the way they think, the way they, learn, how quickly they learn. Um yeah, I don't know. I think it could potentially be a possibility, and the fact that they're also extremely, extremely strong, dude. Like once they end up like, like hooking onto you, it's kind of hard to like remove them. That's why some divers, I don't remember the specific type of like squid, but there's a squid down I think in Gulf of Mexico that only comes up during a full moon, and in order to study them, like whoever goes down there, they have to be extremely careful because they are strong enough to just fully pull them down. But yeah, no, I would have to agree with you, Curtis, like on that whole entire thing.
They're just so such. When you think, right, it's like imagine if they were, like you said, were able to like get along or communicate. You know, it's like because obviously most animals are very territorial, right?
Right.
But imagine like, let's just say all the male lions and female lions, for example, just got together. They would absolutely take over Africa, dude. You know,
Well, again,
there's not really
it depends. I mean,
like if they were to communicate and like,
no,
they
not
do though.
necessarily.
They do though.
Well, I think he's talking about like getting rid of humans, right?
Oh,
oh
gotcha.
no, like no, I'm
Um,
saying the animal kingdom, right? So let's take the African safari, for example. You know how the males, most animal males are very territorial. They want the females so they can breed and pass on their genes. That's just the nature of it, right? But like, if you were to have all these male lions get along for whatever reason, right? And they were communicating like, "Hey, here's just like humans. Like if you took that race of lion and made them kind of like human, like communicate and say, "Hey, we're gonna get along. We're gonna work together." Dude, they would fucking dominate the safari. Like,
savannah.
sure, there's plenty of animals. Yeah, there's plenty of animals like bigger and stronger. But it's like, dude, fuck them up, dude.
Well, the reason why I say octopus in general is because of how they're into
Extremely intelligent.
And
yeah.
yeah,
So
natural.
on how like intelligent they are, um, and just basically how they're able to like, I don't know, dude, like the way you can see it just like functioning, right? The way they're so quick to solving puzzles, and they're extremely curious as well to like everything that's going around them, but again, they are that type of like territorial as well. It it's short but amazing, and the fact that they're able to remember things as well is also
What about
incredible.
crows?
What?
Crows are
Those
like
are
the octopus.
extremely intelligent,
So, yeah, they're like the octopus of the fucking dry world.
and they're also capable of mimicry.
So what did he say? He cut off.
Crows, crows
Crows?
are
Crows.
Oh,
crows are
crows.
extremely
Yeah. Yeah,
intelligent.
crows would end up being another one, dude. Crows, I think what they said was they have the intellectual of a 7-year-old. Um But yeah, no, crows would end up being another one, bro. Crows are extreme, dude. Crows will hold grudges, bro. They will hold
Yeah.
generational grudges. Like you don't
Well, and it's
want
like,
to.
and how they can use like human, right? Cars. They can't crack a nut, right? For example, they can't crack a nut. They'll put it in the street, let a car run it over it, and then go and eat the fucking nut from inside the shell.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
no,
fucking good. Like,
they're extremely smart. But again, now you're kind of like looking at it of like, well, how would it be able to like use things, right? Because it has a beak and two legs and wings.
oh,
So how would it be like we would be able to like kind of defend ourselves, from that, right? But like
Well,
with
at the
octopus, you're able to hold things. They're able to basically they can potentially end up using tools, right? Yeah, they're tentacles, but they're able to still hold, pick things up, push things out away, things like that. They have that capability.
they can't fly.
I mean, no, but they can swim extremely fast. So like
Well,
that's
I
why
thought
I'm like that's why I
that
would say with an
like the octopus is crazy to me because
no what.
there's no vertebrae there's no vertebrae on octopus. And you ever seen that video where the octopus like slides through that little hole
Yeah.
like on the ship, and it's like, and you're like looking at it like there's no way it's gonna fit, like it's impossible. It's a small ass hole and like big ass octopus, and it just slides right through.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, fuck that.
Yeah. No, but like
Or,
that's
or like a big ass octopus lives in a little tin can.
yeah. Yeah, no, like all of that, dude. Like that's why I said like they have the potential just because they're able to use their body very, very well. They're able to still hold on to things very, very well. Um, like with us, we have, we always say we have our thumbs, right? And we're able to like create things and things like that because of our thumbs. But then at the same time, they wouldn't need thumbs. They would just have a, individual, like, that's the other thing is that they would work individually. Like all their arms would work individually. So they can multitask 8 different ways.
That's wild.
But
Still
that's what
fuck it
I
up.
meant
I'd still
by
fuck it up though. I'd still fuck him up. I don't care. Still beat his ass.
this motherfucker just wants to fight an alien, dude.
yeah,
You know what I'm
probably
saying?
probably why they don't freaking want to visit us, bro. They just know
Yeah,
you're around,
probably.
dude.
Yeah. They said,
fucking
They know
menace,
you're
bro.
motherfucker. Yeah, this is that motherfucker been drinking twisted teas. Don't fuck with him. Don't fuck with him.
Oh shit, dude.
You know, we'll get him when he takes an edible. We'll fuck him up then.
This
Motherfucker fall asleep mid fight.
damn dude, this motherfucker just really wants to fight an alien.
For real.
You're gonna tell me that wouldn't be in the history books? Dude, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I see it now.
on the history of
Fat
books.
fat white man fucking beats the shit out of an alien who came in peace, dude.
and started the extinction of mankind. Oh my god, dude.
He says, we come in peace. I start beating the shit out of him.
And it's like, oh, you guys are hostile? Or I bet.
Yeah. Oh, okay, this is how it's gonna be.
And then just humans just extinct like that.
Yeah.
Just wiped out of the face of the universe. Or planet, whatever you want to say.
The aliens pull up. I'm like, dude, I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth.
They're hiding, bro. They're hiding because they know freaking Curtis is out here.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying.
Ain't
Honestly,
a fucking menace.
Oh,
they're just vicious. The
Curtis
guy's like, they're like, hey, dude, I just want to. He's like, hey, buddy. He walks over. He's like, what are you doing tomorrow? I like punch him in the throat. Shut up, bitch.
Oh,
You know. No, but honestly though,
well,
I-
there you have it, guys. The day Curtis was born
Would be
is
cool.
the day that aliens stopped visiting us. Oh man.
oh my god, Oh, wait, but Kevin, you didn't answer my question.
What question?
Before we get off topic, do you think you could beat an alien's ass? You didn't answer that.
I did. I said yeah. But then Scott ended up making a pretty good point that like we don't know what they're made of, you know? Even if
Oh,
they look weak, you don't know, like, you know. Like what if you try to like, you know, punch it and then like your punch just goes straight through it, you know?
how do you like walk out of a bar, hammered, and walk up to you? Like your buddy's behind you, like, grab his dick and twist! Grab his dick and twist!
Who's Doug?
You're like, dude, it's fucking titanium. He's like, grab his dick and twist!
Such a great fucking video, dude. I love it. It's so funny.
Wow.
And like the alien's like, you could grab his dick, and he's like, ooh, yeah, just like shuts down, flies away.
The alien's a robot now.
You also got to think about it, dude. Like their anatomy would also end up being way different than ours, potentially.
Yeah, like, what if they don't eat?
Well, yeah. Again, it's life as we know it.
Well, that's the whole entire thing that I think it's cool with ET is that like you can photosynthesize, I think. Because it's a plant. So imagine just like just standing out in the sun if you want to get a snack or you know,
Yeah,
or
but
you
then that
just basically
also
grab that energy.
I'd make certain parts of the earth uninhabitable for long periods of time.
Yeah, like Washington.
Well, what if you like just like, you know, store like just, you know, you basically just make a bunch and then you just store it until you're able to be in the sun again.
Well, and like, how much does he use? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a lot to that.
Would you do that, bro?
I mean,
if you could,
but like in a weird way, like humans kind of have the same. Like you wouldn't if you never had vitamin, was it D, the sun?
Yeah, well, there's
You
other than that, but the big one is vitamin D.
the sun. I mean, you would get messed up too. Your body would, you know,
I
wouldn't
mean,
work properly.
you are able to obtain vitamin D from food.
Yeah, but if you like locked somebody in a black room, you know, and didn't give them pills to help with vitamin D, they'd be fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, but it wouldn't that as long as they're intaking some vitamin D, it wouldn't necessarily mean death. Versus like photosynthesis is a process that deals with, a photon doing work on a chloroplast, and you're not like that's not something that can necessarily be obtained through food like
Yeah.
vitamin D is.
if you could, would you?
What?
If you could photosynthesize, would you? And like that's the only way you would eat?
No, dude, I
Yeah,
like
dude.
food.
Huh?
I said I like food.
I can tell.
Oh, this fucking guy.
It shows, buddy. Trust me. Damn, imagine Curtis. No more burgers, bro. No more barbecue.
Yeah, but like, but ultimately, like, is there some sort of mind altering substance when I when I photosynthesize or now? Do I have to like
No, you're just eating.
be?
You're basically just eating,
That's
right?
fucking dope,
Because
dude.
there's
Yeah,
like no
that would save
other
me so much
thing,
money.
right?
That would save me so much money.
I'd be
Yeah, I mean,
skinny. I'd look great.
yeah, like
Save
I'm
me a
trying to find a
lot of
downside.
money.
I'm trying to find a downside to it. You know,
Well, I mean, the
like, hey, you
downside
want
would
to?
just be that if there's no sunlight, then you're basically starving. That would be the downside. So you would have to live somewhere where there's a lot of sun. Or if
That's what I said earlier. That's what I said earlier. Is I'd never go to Washington. That's cool. That's fine. Fine with me.
this video is seriously probably one of the longest podcasts we've done here in a while. How are you guys feeling afterwards? I'm feeling tired as shit.
Doing good, we here.
Yeah. We talked about a lot of things, bro, but I'm surprised we actually stayed somewhat on topic, you know?
Yeah,
That's actually a first for us. Holy shit.
for real.
Yeah, there was only a couple times I zoned out.
When Scott is fucking explaining math.
I'm not gonna say I'm not putting name, motherfucker. Don't try to throw me under the bus.
What?
It's not when Scott started talking fucking mathematical and theoretical physics and shit. No, that's not when it was.
Oh, he spaced out when you started talking about fucking
Oh my.
I was scrolling through
space-time
Facebook.
continuum. He just he opened his freaking phone. Was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a while." Comes back
Oh,
30
and then
minutes
Kevin,
later. Oh, he's still going.
yeah, no, dude, yeah, Kevin had my back. Kevin was like, "That's cool." Kevin, was, no, that's cool. Yeah, nice, dude. Awesome. No idea what you fucking said, but like, I wasn't gonna say that. I'm not a dick.
Dude, I mean,
Kevin
at
took
least I try to like pay attention. I try to follow what he says.
Okay, well, it
I'm
didn't
not
fucking
just
help,
gonna
did it?
ignore it because I do think it's cool, right? I do think it's
Oh,
cool.
to
and
somebody listening, yeah, to somebody listening, absolutely. But I'm not gonna put my input in and I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. It's just a waste of air for me.
No,
know?
I
But I
like
hope
I like learning about it and like I just don't have like anything to add because it's like I just I'm just like okay like I don't have anything to add but I do like listening to it. I like learning about that.
What?
any ad because I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
What?
Yeah, I just zoned out.
Love the dude, man. Love the dude. He's
Took a
fucking.
nap.
He's either too smart for me or too dumb for everybody. I don't know.
Oh man, that shit's funny though.
So I don't
You tell
know.
me a subject to talk about, and we'll talk about
Something we don't talk about multiverses or fucking theoretical physics or fucking goddamn.
it.
He just makes up.
I don't know. What like hiking, fucking mythical creatures, Bigfoot. You want to talk about Bigfoot?
God, I'm still turning into fucking physics. Well, it's just as a multiverse of the human stuck in a time loop.
Dude, you know when fucking fast food I can't eat anymore?
What?
Fucking Jack in the Box, bro. That thing is so fucking bad, dude. Every single time I eat it, it just like resets my fucking stomach, bro. Like I feel so fucking
Yeah, I haven't had it in so long.
like I feel like McDonald's is literally healthier than fucking Jack in the Box, bro, at this point. I feel like Taco Bell is healthier than fucking Jack in the Box at this point. I gotta say, it is?
No, yeah, because so I don't know if you remember, but they had that huge thing where like people, it got out that the quality of meat they were using was like worse than what is used in dog food.
Oh shit, for real? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, this was a while ago. So they ended up Taco Bell.
Okay.
So it got out and then like they lost a bunch of public favor after that. So they ended up now they buy the same quality, they buy from the same source, so it's the same quality of product as Panera.
Wait, who? Taco Bell?
Yeah, Taco Bell's meat and produce is equivalent to Panera's in terms of quality now.
No fucking way.
Yeah, I swear to God.
Panera's not fucking good.
Dude, Panera's fucking what? I love
They're
Panera.
fucking hospital food, dude. Every day of the fucking week.
I'm not talking about how good their food tastes or whatever. I'm just saying they get it like it's the same quality in terms of like freshness, fucking like additives and shit like that.
So it's seriously the same like quality level? Damn, bro, that's actually crazy. Have you been to Jack in the Box lately or no?
Yeah, somewhat recently.
When was the last time? What'd you get?
I always get the fucking ultimate bacon cheeseburger.
Oh, is that the only thing you get? You don't get the wild like munchie meal things?
Nah, I've never really gotten the munchie meals.
So the last thing I tried, dude, and then like just it messed me up, dude. I was like, yeah, I'm never going to a freaking Jack in the Box ever again. It looked like a hot dog, but apparently had a chicken tender in there. and then it had curly fries in there and like some other sauce. And I was like, dude, I was so hungry. I was like, that, I might try that, right? Tried it, dude. Oh my god, I couldn't finish it, dude. I literally couldn't finish. I was so hungry and I still couldn't finish it. Like my body is like literally like you're just putting poison in you right now. No offense, Jack in the Box at all, or anybody that likes Jack in the Box. But yeah, dude, I just couldn't finish it. I was like, no. But
That's wild.
huh?
I had there's a McDonald's by our house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was like,
Wait,
what the
sorry, you
fuck?
you broke up. What was that?
I had a burger,
Mm-hmm.
and it tasted like you know Burger King. I don't know if you guys had Burger King forever because I haven't had it for a bit. Like how it's like flame grilled or whatever. It just
Yeah,
has a
frame
different.
broiled. Frame.
It's got different flavor. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Like
Yeah.
it tastes almost barbecued. Like it was sitting over. It had that. It was McDonald's, just like a regular fucking McDouble or whatever it was. And it tastes like that. I'm like, what the fuck? And I have no idea to this day why that one tastes so much. Why this McDonald's tastes so much different than every other McDonald's. No idea.
Probably some dude
Yeah.
in the back there just not washing his hands.
For real. For real.
Fuck, dude, keep it up. Keep it the fuck up. Dude, that shit's top tier.
Damn. Dude, speaking of Burger King, did you guys?
Are we still streaming?
Do you
Wait,
remember?
are we still streaming?
Yeah, we're still recording. Speaking of Burger King, do you remember when they ended up bringing out that crazy burger that ended up making like people like
The
shit
Impossible
black?
Burger?
No, it was like a
Impossible
full
Burger?
black like burger.
Yeah, it was like
the black bun and everything.
burger
Yeah,
or whatever.
like black bun, black patty, and like all the
Yeah,
like,
black everything.
yeah, and, like people
Never
ate
ate
it,
one.
and then like I'm pretty sure they ended up like I think when they ended up like pooping it they pooped black.
Remember, I don't know if you guys ever had it when you were kids, but the colored ketchup.
No,
Yeah.
I never had it,
Yeah,
but I know what
dude.
you're talking about.
We
That
had.
shit was
So I think they had like green, red, and purple. Those are the three colors I remember for whatever reason. But the purple, I remember the green one. The green one, I was shitting as a kid, and I started crying because I didn't. So why the fuck was my shit green?
wow.
Never ate that shit again.
Dude, you know what's interesting to me? Like there's a lot of like well, not interesting, but I found it funny, right? There's like a lot of like things that have been like banned, right? Because like either they had something in it or they weren't supposed to, or like kids kept like choking on them. And there's this Mexican candy that's like gelatin, right? And I guess it was like not being made anymore because a lot of kids were like choking on them, right?
Okay.
And what I found funny was that this person ended up making a video, right? Because they finally found them, right? They finally found them. They're like, oh yeah, I finally found them. I've been craving them, right? Apparently it's a choking hazard. I've never choked on these, right? And they go to suck it up and immediately start choking on them. And they spat it back out. And I was like, dude, what are the odds? I was like, they just literally filmed themselves. Be like, yeah, I've never choked on these. I don't know what people are on. And then they like, they suck it up and then just immediately start choking on it.
It was wild.
So we learned about alien space. Curtis got annoyed at Scott. Scott got annoyed at Curtis. I gotta say that's a pretty good episode, right?
It sounds like a normal episode.
Sounds like my relationship.
Do you guys have anything to say?
No, I don't have anything else to add.
No. Curtis, what are you thankful for, buddy?
What am I thankful for?
Yeah.
Well, let's start by
And we're
saying
out of time.
I'm
Anyways,
thankful.
thank you so much for.
Okay.